coming. Pardon?
Do you remember when the Trump administration considered it an act of hostility against their administration to vote for the release of the Epstein files in Congress? Do you remember that?
No, I don't.
Oh,
When was
okay.
that?
Yeah, this was like 3 months ago, 4 months ago. So it was before Adelita Grahova was brought into Congress as the last and final vote for the petition for the release of the Epstein files. At that point, the Democrats were still trying to get some Republicans on their side to force the vote for the release of the e-files. And once the Democrats were able to get 4 Republicans on their side, Massey, Mace, Lauren Boebert, and MTG, then Caroline Leavitt came out and said, well, it's an active act of hostility against the administration to vote for that release of the Epstein files. And I mean, and that was the same time period where we had Trump on Truth Social saying that we just need to move on from the Epstein files because they're Democratic hoax, and any Trump supporter who doesn't want to move on is stupid.
Did the DOJ release it? Yes or no?
Did the DOJ release all the files? No. They
No,
did release
not
around
all.
3
Have they
million of
released
them.
some of the files?
Yeah, because of pressure from we the people, not because of pressure from Trump. And all the information
Trump
that I
said
just
he was
shared
going to
with you
release it.
starts to
That's what he was
prove it.
running on. He said he was going to release it.
And then he walked that back.
He didn't walk it back. They just
I
realized
just showed you how
what
he
was
did
in the
walk it back.
e-files, so they realized they weren't going to be able to release all of them. But they released a bit
I
of
just
them.
showed you. I just showed you how he walked that back. Okay, because he started saying that they're Democratic hoax that we need to stop paying attention to. His administration considered it an act of hostility to vote for their release in Congress. I mean, they burned all of the Republicans that pledged to vote for the release. MTG got kicked out of politics. Lauren Boebert got her clean water bill killed. Thomas Massey got like 5 essays calling him a piece of shit. And then Nancy Mace got a stern sit-down meeting in the White House as confirmed by White House insiders. Meanwhile, Donald Trump also had Mike Johnson, his self-described puppet in Congress, delay the swearing-in ceremony of Adelita Grahova by like 6 weeks because she was the final vote to make a majority to constitute the forced release of the files in the House. So, yeah, all of those things clearly do prove that he did not want the files released. I mean, he said it himself, man. We need to quote-unquote
He
move
would
on from
never
the
have
Democratic
brought it up in the
hoax.
first place even if he didn't want it released.
Well, I think maybe...
He said it when he was running that they were going to get released.
I think maybe here there was, more exploration of Epstein's cabal during the Biden-Harris administration, which then added more on to the investigation that maybe incriminated some people he didn't want to be incriminated publicly. So as soon as he was able to get that top secret clearance back by winning the Oval, he took a look at the contents and he said, no, 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 no. And this isn't like some left-leaning conspiracy theory either, right? I feel like the fact Donald Trump said we need to move on from the Epstein files and his administration considered it an act of hostility against their admin to vote for their release in Congress proves everything that I'm saying is true.
Do you believe what Les Wexner said in his interview about Epstein?
I'm not even sure what Lex Wexner said. How does this relate to the points I just made?
Les Wexner. Do you know what he said?
It's the ex-CEO of Victoria's Secret. He was one of...
Correct.
he was one of Epstein's co-conspirators. No, I'm not
He's
sure what he
involved,
said in the
yes.
interview. No. How does this relate to the points that I just made to prove that the Trump administration didn't want the files released?
Well, no, it's relating to the bigger topic, which is the global cabal.
Okay, then could you respond to the specific points that I just made, please?
So in regards to Trump releasing the files, he wanted to release the files. He ran on releasing the files. You're claiming that he didn't because there were some votes that were held or not pushed through. And then finally they were forced to push through. So then the Trump administration was forced to give out the files, which they only gave out like 10-15% of the files. So you're basically claiming that Trump had no interest in really revealing the files. That's your stance.
Point number one, you said that they're
Because
Democratic
they only
hoax, so we
released
just need to
about
move on
10 to
from.
15% of it.
No, listen. Because point number one, he explicitly said that they're a Democratic hoax that we need to move on from. Point number two, Caroline Leavitt called it an act of hostility to vote for the release of the Epstein files in Congress. Point number three, okay, every Republican who helped build the majority to force the vote for the release of the Epstein files in Congress was burned by Trump. MTG was even kicked out of politics. And point number four, he had Mike Johnson break the law and delay Adelita Grahova swearing-in ceremony to further prevent there being a majority vote for the forceful release of the e-files in Congress. Respond to those 4 points, because as far as I'm concerned, those 4 points absolutely prove that Donald Trump did not want the Epstein files released. Explicitly so. He said it himself.
So she wasn't kicked out for that reason. I don't know where you got that.
What was the reason then?
You think she got kicked out because she was pushing for the e-files?
Yeah.
What would make you say that, though?
Because that's why Trump disowned her.
But that isn't why Trump disowned her. They gave her a different position.
Why did Trump disown her?
He didn't disown her. They gave her a new position. What are you talking about?
They give MTG a new position? I think that you're talking about Kristi Noem or somebody, not MTG. MTG was a congresswoman from Georgia, not like a member of the cabinet.
Yeah, sorry, maybe I am getting confused.
Yeah. You are.
Kristi.
Very confused.
So what's your claim that she was let go for because of the e-files?
Yeah, disowned her over the e-files. She didn't do what Trump wanted, and she was very vocal and outspoken about it.
What about Pam Bondi?
Yeah, I think that she was let go so then the DOJ could try to argue that they don't have an obligation to send her to testify in front of Congress, which has seemed to work out in their favor, even though that's not what the law says. The Republican majority in Congress has bent the knee. Yeah, she was conveniently let go 2 weeks before her date to appear in front of Congress, but this is also, like, once again, not a response to the 4 points I gave you to prove that the Trump admin did not want the files released.
Who was the Trump admin?
Like Trump, for instance, I think it all starts with him, that Trump didn't want the files released.
But, okay, Dean, if Trump never wanted the files released, he would have never talked about it in the first place when he was running his campaign. He would have just hushed it up completely.
Yeah, once again, I don't think that that's a sufficient response because, like I said, you know, I think it's very possible that the DOJ continued their investigation once he left office in 2021. And during that investigation, they were able to come up with a couple more names of those incriminated. And Donald Trump wouldn't know because he wasn't in office at the time. He didn't have that clearance. So he runs in the 2024 general. He says he's going to release the Epstein files because the last time he saw them, he didn't think they incriminated him or anybody that he cared about. But then, you know, that was very quickly proven wrong when he won the election, was inaugurated, had that secret clearance, then took a look at the contents of the files. You know, I mean, I think that's clearly what happened. There's literally no other explanation for why prior to the election, one moment, for why prior to the election he was saying, let's release the files. Yet after the election, he said they're a Democratic hoax that we need to move on from, and anybody who wants the files released is a traitor.
Yeah, I don't know why he said that. That's silly.